Hello everyone, and welcome to Slingcore Survival. If you watched last episode, you might be wondering why my voice sounds a little bit weird, and basically my mic has this issue where it keeps making this tapping sound. I have no idea how to fix it, so I'm just using my headset mic, which is not as good, but it'll do. I think it sounds okay, at least for a few episodes. And last episode, we built this nice sugarcane farm right here, which has been producing quite a bit. If we come in here and look, I think that this side, so if you didn't see last episode, basically I did a little test where I had one observer on this side and all observers on this side. And I'm pretty sure the side with only one observer is actually producing more sugarcane. Also, last episode I didn't have paths coming into the building, but now I do. And in this episode, I'm going to sort of make a counterpart to this. So this I made so that I could make rockets. And off camera, right here, I have a gunpowder farm set up. Right down there is the way to get to the chests. I don't know how effective it is because there's a lot of caves around here that have not been lit up. But this design is actually by Waddles, so the link to his video will be in the description in case you want to build it. It's a pretty standard farm where basically you have an observer looking up, and then as you can see the water just comes down like that. It all triggers down and the creepers will go onto these magma blocks and die. So yeah, this episode I'm not actually going to be building this. Instead what I want to do is build a space around it because this is kind of ugly. I don't want it just sitting here. And one thing that I've always wanted to have in here is a lightning rod so that when it thunders I don't have to worry about anything getting struck by lightning. So I think what I'm going to do is build sort of a raised circular platform area, and then in the center of it I want to build like this huge big sword that's sticking right up in the middle, and I'm going to put a lightning rod up on top of that. So I don't know exactly the shape that I want this or the pattern, so I'm going to experiment a little bit in creative and then I'll come back and actually add that into the world. So here are some of the different test designs that I did. I started out with just some walls in between, and I knew that I kind of wanted some stone and then a deep slate wall in the back. And then I tried with cobble walls and didn't like that either, so I came over here and I really liked this pattern. I tried something similar with the smooth stone and it just didn't come out. So once I knew that I liked this pattern with the regular deep slate behind it, I tried it with deep slate bricks. I'm pretty sure that's called. No, these are deep slate bricks. What is this? Polished deep slate. Yeah. I tried it with polished deep slate and it just was looking too blocky. So then I finally got it to where it is now with the deep slate bricks, and I think that that looks pretty good. I think this is what I'm going to go with for the final build. And also I like these soul torches. I just really love the way that the blue goes with the deep slate. Up here I was trying a couple different ideas about how maybe I could have the walkway go, but I think first I'm just going to get the main area put in and then I'll work about what to do on the top later. Okay, so here we are back in survival, and I've just built 1/4 of this circle that I'm going to be putting around the gunpowder farm. And I really like how this pattern came out. I went kind of crazy with the soul torches, there's a ton of them. And I tried doing every other, sort of like how I did in creative, and it just looked a little bit too bare. And I do love how the blue matches with the deep slate bricks. So I think I'm going to leave it like that and do all the other sides just like I did this one. So now I've finished building all 4 sides of this, and the next thing to work on is the actual layout that you're going to be able to walk around on top. Though I think something that's going to help with that is actually starting out with figuring out how I want the sword to look, because I want a big sword sticking up out of here and we'll put a lightning rod at the top. But before I can add any other walkways up here, I really need to figure out how to do that sword, so that's what I'm going to try and figure out next. So I experimented in creative for a little while, and this is the design that I finally came up with. It's not the best sword in the world, but I think it sort of still has that feel that it is a sword. I also wanted to add in this soul fire down here to match with the rest of the build, and also just because I thought it'd be awesome to have a sword stuck in the ground with fire coming out. And then up at the top, I have a campfire in here, and it's actually hiding this lightning rod, which, like I said before, I want to have a lightning rod inside this sword so that when it thunders, lightning will strike it and not any of these other builds. But I think that would just be awesome to see this place, the thunderstorm, having lightning strike this sword. And now that I have this sword done, what I need to do is figure out the walkways up here and what's actually going to be up onto here. So here's a basic layout of how the walkways are actually going to be for this area up here. There's going to be an entrance from each side, even though these two sides probably won't be used very much. And they meet in the center and just make a ring around the sword. I decided to go with just regular stone as the block for it because I figured it'd be different from the andesite and the stone bricks that I used here. I didn't want to repeat anything, so I figured that this would look nice. And now the thing that I have to do is figure out what to put in here, which is going to be kind of difficult, but I do have somewhat of an idea. I'm thinking that somewhere in this corner I want to have a way that you can drop down to actually collect the items from the spawner, and then on this side I'll have something that you can come up from dropping down. So on this side you would be able to drop down, on this side you'd come up, and then approaching from this side you'd come up on this side, drop down on this side, and then come up on this side, so that pretty much no matter which side you come from, on either side there's going to be a way to drop down and a way to get back up. Also, one detail that I missed about the sword when I first showed it is that I have a diamond block right there, and I thought that would look really cool, and my favorite part about it is that I also have another diamond block on the back. You know, I think that just adds so much, and it's my favorite detail about the sword. So I decided to keep on using the smooth stone slabs for the sides on here. And like I said, I have one spot where you can go down on the left and a spot where you can come up on the right. And basically, no matter where you come from, you're going to have a spot that you can easily get down on and a spot you can easily get up on. And basically, the drop spots, you just go through this little block of water right before you hit the ground, and then it cuts your fall. And apparently I left this open. Should probably close that up. And then again, these just use normal bubble elevators to get up. Alright. Eventually I am probably going to want to replace that and not have it just be dirt, because that's kind of ugly, but for now the thing that I want to do is figure out what to put in these areas in the four corners right here. And as of right now, I kind of want to sort of make a perimeter copying this side, like the wall, except instead I want to invert it. So right here I would actually use the andesite instead of the stone bricks, and then here I have the andesite, so I'd use the stone bricks here instead. And I'm probably just going to continue this along. Alright, so I finished building in the perimeter in every single corner like I said I was going to do. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because I think I want to add in a layer of warped nylium at the same level as these deep slate bricks. And so basically it'll just have that nice blue color filled in throughout here, and then I can go in with some bone meal and just, you know, make the little bits of warped vegetation come up. Now, at this point I have pretty much no warped nylium, so I'm gonna have to go take a trip into the nether and try and get some. I don't know how much I'm gonna need, so I think I'll probably just start out by grabbing a stack and see how far that gets me. So here is a stack of warped nylium. I'm just gonna start placing this in and see how far it gets me. Hopefully I'll at least be able to fill out one of these sections, because if I can, I'm gonna need to harvest a ton of this stuff, which I don't really want to do. It's not too difficult to get, but it's not the most fun thing in the world. So a stack of warped nylium was able to fill out this section and a little bit of this one, so I think if I get like a stack and a half more, then I should be able to finish this area. So it turns out that a stack and a half more of warped nylium was not quite enough to fill this out, so I'm gonna have to make one more trip to the nether to grab enough to finish this out. Alright, now I've got all the warped nylium in, and the next thing that I think I'm gonna do is take some glowstone and hide it into here by covering it with some cyan carpet, because it was getting dark and I noticed that this area is not very well lit up. I don't know exactly where I should be putting these. I guess it would have been better to wait and then do this at night, but I think probably just doing it in roughly the corners will be good enough. So yeah, that's it for this side. And we're just gonna have to do this a few more times. Once I actually get all this glowstone in, what I want to do is just go around with some bone meal and bone meal each space of nylium to add some more vegetation to the area and just add some more interest to it. Now I don't want to bone meal it so many times that the warped trees start coming up, because then I feel like it would take some of the attention away from the sword, which we've got right here. And I want the main focus to be on the sword. These are just sort of side gardens just because, you know, why not have them? So let's just, I think probably two uses of bone meal in each pad is probably good. Oh, look at that. It made a crimson one. I did not expect that. Let's take a look at that. To be honest, I'm not that big of a fan of the hidden glowstone. I do have enough warped nylium to change it. So yeah, I think I'm going to change this back. I don't think it looks very good. And maybe at night I can see, maybe I can make some different types of lanterns, or maybe I can just use torches or something to light up the area. Because yeah, let's just take a quick comparison. Well, maybe no, I think this looks a lot better than with the cyan carpet. It doesn't blend in quite as well as I expected it to. Whoops. It would be nice to get some other type of texturing in here as well. That's not just the blue color. But I'm not entirely sure what that should be. Maybe if I can get some more of that crimson tree type, then I can add that in. Let's see, what if I just smack another piece of bone meal in here? I don't think that really helped. You know what, actually, this place is looking pretty cool. I'm happy with these gardens. And I think I'm gonna have to say that that's about it for this episode. Normally, I would want to come down here and decorate this basement area and make it look all nice and pretty, and I'd also want to light up the area up there, but I'm sort of realizing that with my current schedule, I can't really do entire projects in one episode and still be able to release them as much as I'd like. This episode has taken a pretty long time to get out, and I don't really want it to be that way. So I think what I'm going to do from this point forward is make more episodes, but do a little bit less in them. And even though I might not be doing an entire project in an episode, I'm still going to try and add in some type of content in there. Like, for example, in this episode, I just skipped the entire creation of this gunpowder farm. And I skipped a lot of the detail work that went on up here. I just sort of said, you know, I'm going to do this, and then cut, and it was done. So maybe in my next episode I'll try and show a little bit more of what goes on in between those cuts. Yeah, it's actually taken so long for this episode to come out that it's October. And that means that we are going to become Spooky Slingcore. Yep, it's October. That means we're going full Halloween mode. Pretty spooky, and if you don't know the backstory behind this skin, basically the original Zombie Pigman was going to have red blood like on this skin, but Notch decided not to add that in, and so I figure it's Halloween, it's pretty spooky, I'll have that as my skin for right now. So yeah, that's the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.